everybody? How's everybody doing? I am joined tonight by the always amazing Legal Vices and the ever so dapper and awesome with her new jacket and sunglasses, Dani on. Man, those sunglasses are so awesome.
I'm so happy that you're telling me this because when I put them on, I came home and my husband was like, "What the hell are you wearing?" So thank you.
Guys,
awesome.
She looks like Lady Gaga, right? She totally has the Lady Gaga vibe.
I feel it. I'm totally feeling it.
I'm like super jelly. You're
I've
totally
got the
rocking
Magnum
it right
PI
now.
vibe, I guess.
And I'm just Pippi Longstocking. We're all good here.
It's cosplay day here on the Unexplained. It's all unexplained why we have Pippi Longstocking's Magnum PI and Lady Gaga here.
That would be a really interesting show.
Well, I mean, that is why I wore it, because it is the Unexplained. And I was like, I love this outfit. I'll never wear it again except for the show. So,
I mean, I think you should wear those glasses every time now.
I think I will every time for only for Unexplained.
Yes.
But you need to get a screen darkener. You need to get a screen darkener so you don't see so much bright white in the reflection.
Me?
No, Dani. Like her glasses, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I'm sorry, it's just the white skin. I can't help it.
Did you install the volume adjusting thing that I told you about the other day?
I did. Thank you so much for educating
There's also
me.
another one called Dark Reader that you can switch on to darken to go night mode, even on things like StreamYard that don't have night mode built. It's called Dark Reader.
Okay, I'll check it out. I don't know. I'm so freaking pale, dude. It doesn't matter how much I turn down my screen, I get washed out. So kind of giving up a little bit.
It's in your glasses. We just like see your like white bright light glasses. Anyway, yeah.
Am I
Dark Reader is a great thing.
Science.
No.
There
will be no science here. This is the Unexplained.
Yes. Now.
Yes.
What are we talking about, Dani?
Yeah.
What are we talking about, Flux?
Yeah. You were the one that's like,
talking about,
oh my God, we've got to do this. So we're like, oh, what are we talking about? We were just waiting while we were waiting for like, what is she going to be talking? There's like, she was excited about this, insisting we do it right now. So we were like wondering what Dani's going to talk about.
So have you guys talked about Dyatlov Pass?
Yes.
Have we?
Yeah. The Russians in the valley.
Russian scientists.
I know we've definitely talked about it. I don't know if it's been like an official Unexplained.
It was twice.
Oh, was that pre-me? I think that was pre-me.
Could have been pre you.
Because I was like, I'm pretty sure it was one of those episodes where I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it my goal to do that one day. And here I am. Dreams do come true, people.
You weaseled your way into our little shenanigans there.
I did. I weaseled my way in like what did I call? I called myself I'm the little tiny fish that it like attaches itself to the belly of the shark to clean off all like the nasty algae.
Fish, yeah.
Where I'm just along for the ride, guys.
I get to be the nasty algae.
I'll just suction
I'll be
on
the
and
shark.
Wait,
I'm the nasty shark? Algae. I'm the nasty algae stuck to Dani, and you. No, you can't do that because that sounds weird to complete that sentence.
So I'm a shark, you're the algae, and Flux, you're just hanging on for the ride. And
that's a good way of putting it. I was trying to find a way to finish that sentence that was not horrific.
What, like you being eaten off by a little sucker fish? Is that where you're going? Yeah.
I was trying. No, that's where I was trying to avoid going.
Well, that's where I just took us because I'm the shark, bitches.
You are. I was. Yeah.
Our Lawfordite.
I thought if I just said I'm the algae being sucked off by Flux, it would sound really, really bad. So I didn't say that.
Really does. You know what these glasses actually remind me of? A Goofy
old
movie.
People's glasses that have gone in for vision tests and they have to wear those for a day.
Oh, the I just spit that. That made me laugh so hard. The disposable ones when you get your eyes dilated.
Dilate, yeah.
Oh. No, but those ones have like the teeth on the side, so they're like
the
cool.
Pit Viper logo.
They
got the Pit Viper logo, baby. Teeth. Pit Viper. There we go. She was singing
really
that.
Clever to put the logo here across the arm, right?
Right? I'm so down to wear that jacket and then just like do the dance like.
That's very 80s.
No, they had a really amazing sale. So it was hilarious. He was like, how much, what do I need to do to put you in these glasses today? And I was like, I don't know, maybe $20. And they were already marked down. I think they go for like 130. And he was like, okay, what about 26? And then we like had a little crowd gathered around. It was a lot of fun. And we dickered until it got down to like, I think I paid $26.50.
26 for the
Nice.
sunglasses? Sweet.
6 for the
That
sun,
is
10 for the jacket, and 10 for another windbreaker that's also very cute, but my husband doesn't like it as much.
So now when you sneeze, you can be like pit viper.
that
They
is
should-
awesome.
Thing. Like I should be a brand ambassador for it or something. That'd be sweet.
I mean, it makes me want to buy that jacket.
See?
Not gonna lie.
Making sales already. Hashtag Dani on direct. Yeah, no, they were cool. They were
Did
really
you
cool.
just do the hashtag?
Hashtag
Oh.
Dani on direct, bitches.
Oh Lord.
Don't.
Lord.
I'm very chic and in the know. I'm doing what all the cool kids do, okay?
Right?
Jeez.
Oh my goodness. So speaking of unexplained,
Yes.
should we discuss the unexplained phenomenon of an island surrounded by water getting
Catching
a
fire?
hurricane?
Why is that
and-
unexplained? Because most islands are surrounded by water.
well, and catching fire and burning like everything, but
No.
not certain people's estates.
Ooh, we
Wait,
should talk about direct energy weapons.
Ooh, see? I like where your brain's at.
Blinded me with science. Do, 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 do. No, for real though, like it's interesting because I've always known about direct energy weapons, like because I worked at Raytheon, right? And we use them
Mhm.
all the time there, and they're known to take down drones and all kinds of aerial craft, and we also use them on people. We being Saudi Arabia and some other countries that we sell to, technically they're not lethal, but there is a lethal setting. So, throw that out where it may be. Maui is being evacuated again right now.
Apparently, there's
Rolling
another
down to
there's
old
another
Maui.
fire.
Me boys rolling
hell?
down to old Maui.
Wow. See,
We'll
and
drink
okay,
our
is this
rum.
unexplained or is this in the conspiracy realm? All these
No,
wildfires.
There's plenty of unexplained things about it. Okay.
Do they mesh up together?
The
Well,
conspiracy and the
it is
unexplained part?
summer. There are fires. That's why places have fire departments, because places catch on fire.
Right. But
thing.
it is unexplained why all 5 of the emergency officials who should have been on the island as backstops were all off the island at the time it occurred. It is unexplained why it is that the Maui Police Department decided to fire the sheriff who was overseeing the operations and was there the night of the Las Vegas shooting.
It's unexplained.
Well, because
why
he's clearly
they sent-
incompetent at crisis management. Yeah, I would fire him too.
It's unexplained why the local public school sent all the children home, didn't tell the parents, told all the children to go home,
Well,
and then all the children burned to death.
But that was because of the hurricane force winds. So they were allegedly sent home because of the hurricane
But
force
they
winds.
didn't tell the parents.
Well, that's
It is
just bad
unexplained.
management.
Is how many people actually died? We know we have a body count.
unclear. There's still so many people missing.
Yeah,
Why
that's
are
gonna be
there
a high
so many
number.
people missing?
Why are real estate agents calling the people before FEMA or anyone else is for relief?
Because they're shitty people. That's why. Real estate agents are shitty people. Insurance companies and real estate people are just they're show your arm, Dani. They're pit vipers. They're pit vipers.
This is my favorite thing. I'm just gonna come to every unexplained in this outfit. But
That's
for real,
the new
though,
unexplained outfit.
It was like
What
when my
is
brother was
interesting-
killed on New Year's Eve, and like midnight New Year's Eve, like going into New Year's Eve, not like woohoo, Happy New Year, New Year's Eve, like December 30th at right about midnight going into New Year's Eve. New Year's Day was a holiday. January 2nd, the driver's insurance company was calling, pushing for a settlement because they're
Wow.
assholes, is what they are. They got a good stern talking to by me. But yeah, like real estate agents, like insurance companies and real estate agents are predatory. Oh, look,
Why
you're
did
in
the police-
crisis.
hold on. Why did the
Yeah.
police cut off the main entrance and exit for 4 days. Both during the fire, they closed off the exit. Now, allegedly, the reason that they closed off the evacuation route was because there were wires in the road. But there is eyewitness testimony of survivors who literally just kept walking past the police barricades, and they said they didn't see any wires on the road when they were walking. So that's odd. What is also odd is they were telling people to go back. So they had people driving in circles. So for whatever, why they didn't, like, why did no one sound the alarm? The sirens, because the sirens, if you go and look on the website for the government of Maui, it specifically says those sirens are designed to warn against fires in addition to tsunamis and a bunch of other emergencies.
See, and here's the thing. They said, oh, we didn't sound the sirens because that's people are trained when they hear the sirens to run to the hills because it's a tsunami. So we can't send people to the hills because the hills are on fire. So we can't blare the warning because it'll send people to the fire. And it's like, no, because I'm pretty sure if the sirens go off and then they look at the hills and they see the hills are on fire, they're probably not going to run to the on fire hills.
Stupid though, Flux.
Yeah, but
these are the people that follow their navigation software off a cliff or into a river.
If that's true, Jeff, why aren't they closing down traffic coming into Lahaina instead of traffic coming out of Lahaina?
See, and that's
a level of incompetence that is bizarre.
There's a level of stupid, and then there's a level of how many coincidences before they stop being coincidences.
Right. Or the fact that there's actually a really great video that just came out. So they were handing out permits and placards. And my understanding is that the licenses and placards and permits were so that they could go and identify where their homes were, and they could actually get resources, the survivors and people who were able to escape. And there's a great video of a police officer showing up, and there's a huge line going all the way back, like down maybe 2 blocks, 3 blocks. Huge line of people lined up to get one of these placards so that they can get services. The police officer shows up in his patrol vehicle and over the loudspeaker says, "We are no longer handing them out. You guys are to disperse. There are powers above me that I don't understand. I don't know why, but they are shutting this down right now."
Yeah, again, Occam's razor. America has been shit at responding to every natural disaster that's ever happened in the history.
This isn't a natural disaster. Why did they turn back on the electricity after they knew the power lines were down during a high wind event? Because of the high wind, they had turned it off and they turned it back on. There is nothing about this that screams, oh yes, everybody was conveniently incompetent all on the same day. Now, maybe that's true. That can absolutely be true. But I think Occam's razor also suggests that there are powers that want to capture Hawaii, especially Maui, to create their 5-minute city. And this is a very convenient way to get rid of a lot of people. And this is the people, these are the people, the natives who refused to sell their land for decades. And this was a very quick and easy way to get rid of that problem.
And let us not forget Operation Northwoods. Yep. Wherein the government literally plans to do things against the American people for one reason or another.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident. I mean, there's millions of actual incidents of the US government doing this against their own people, blaming everything under the sun other than the US government. I'm just saying, it's not like we don't have a precedent here, Jeff. And I do think that there's enough to argue here that something is strange going on. It's odd that the governor is sending out his goons to track down journalists for asking hard questions, allegedly hard questions like, hey, do we know how many people are still missing? Have we recovered how many kids?
I don't understand why they can't get a count of how many missing people. Like, one, it's a wildfire. We deal with wildfires in California. I get it. It was quick. It ran through. But why are there so many people missing still?
It's bizarre.
Either they're gone or they're hiding. So I don't understand why there are so many people still missing.
I've never seen him. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's when when you're essentially in a blast furnace, there's not much left of bodies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And Zeno the Stoic says, "OMG, Jeff, that hat. This used to be Flux's hat. Flux gave me this hat. She was so damn generous with this, and just I didn't want to take it because I know how awesome it is for Flux. I know how proud she was of this. And I was reluctant to take it from her, but she forced it upon me and begged me to take it. So, yeah,
isn't it a great hat?
This used to be Flux's hat, so I wear it with pride. Zeno says, OMG, OMF Flux that hat. Yeah, so Flux forced this on me, and I wear it with pride and honor because it belongs to one of my besties.
Spiffy.
And I told her, it's not my hat. I'm just holding it in perpetuity for her. The minute she asks for it back, it's hers.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to create a conspiracy here or go one way or another. I really don't know. And that's the point, is there is unexplained things about this fire that have yet to be explained to the public, to us as like to anyone. To anyone.
Well, I think the danger in conspiracizing, is that a word? If not, it should be. In conspiracizing everything is then everybody dismisses it as, oh, this great thing, rather than going, all right, how do we prevent this fuck up from happening again? By everyone focusing on, is this a conspiracy? You ignore the actual problems.
But Jeff, we have protocols to follow in the event of a wildfire. And if they're
covering it up, then that is the legitimate definition of a conspiracy, is to cover up the wrongdoings because somebody fucked up. So now they got to cover it up.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree with you, because like I said, I grew up in burn survivor camps. I grew up with firefighters. So like, I'm not here to say that the results of this wildfire aren't natural in consequence. They're unnatural in the way that it was created. So it was, I 100% believe that it was created as a result of the power companies, just like the campfire in California was. And that was also an incredibly deadly fire. The difference with the campfire is that here you had a very isolated community, okay, that was difficult to reach, difficult to communicate with, difficult to carry out the normal SOPs that you would in a similar wildfire situation. Here, you had every resource available. You had sirens. You had text message alerts. You had every single possible opportunity to warn people coming down the hill, to warn people all throughout Lahaina, to execute mandatory evacuations, but no one did. That's where I'm pissed. That's why I'm confused.
And we should be pissed and confused. But to say it's this plot by the government to murder more than 1,000 children to make an energy efficient city, I mean, I think it sort of cheapens the deaths actually. And we don't look at how, we know the protocols are in place, but it doesn't address how these happen. And I use the example of the Sewol ferry accident here in Korea, where more than 300 people died, mostly high school students and younger. It was the Korean government. They didn't respond to it. They wanted this to happen. The Korean government, the Coast Guard didn't do this. These people didn't do that. This branch didn't do this. Rather than going, how in the hell did we let this ship owner managed to chop up, extend a ship, rip out support, make it so he could stuff more cargo in, destabilize the ship, and let it sail? How did we get to this point? And what do we do to fix it and make sure it doesn't happen again? I think that's where, we should be holding people's feet to the fire, but that's kind of too literal.
But what would you say? You would say it boils down to simple corruption, and you can say the same thing here.
Oh, yeah.
But to pretend that there isn't a corrupt motive here, and that there isn't that there is no benefit to the people who are all in places of power for sitting back with their hands up and saying, oh, okay. To pretend that there isn't some benefit to them in this is a lie. Because there's a ton of benefit in this for them.
Did they cause this to take care of the benefit, or are they just using it? Yeah.
I don't think they caused it.
They're being shitty people and shitty organizations to take advantage of the horrific situation that's happened to other people.
I'm just saying you never let a good tragedy go
Yeah.
to waste if you're a politician, and
That's what-
especially
And Oprah.
especially if you can blame incompetence over malice, people blame incompetence. It's a lot easier to overcome incompetence come election time than it is to overcome malice.
Mhm.
A lot
Mhm.
easier. So I'm just saying, and if you don't believe me, look at what Trump is going through, right? As soon as you ascribe malice to everything Trump does rather than incompetence, it's near impossible for him to gain a foothold again. But if you instead say, oh, well, they're just incompetent, which Republicans have been doing to Democrats and saying publicly about Democrats for years, and vice versa, right? You can always overcome those things. So I'm just saying, saying,
Well, I
there's
mean,
a lot of
clearly the
unexplained things
solution,
about this.
clearly the solution to the problem is bring pillows for 4 people.
Obviously.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oprah can solve everything.
See, and that's the thing.
And do you think Oprah actually went to Walmart herself and bought 4 pillows?
God, no.
Speaking of Walmart and pillows, I'm incompetent myself. I have to. My laundry has been done for 20 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of stuff that could be more if the government was more willing to be transparent, I think we'd have a lot less issues. I don't know if you did you see a bunch of the like news interviews with locals where they were like, when the president was about to go out there, they were like, go away, don't come here.
Yeah.
We don't need you here.
Yeah.
And-
As a matter of fact, someone may or may not have said, take your $700 and get the F back on your plane and go home.
Oh, that's right. They were trying to give people $700 whole to.
Yes. What I want explained is why the hell they were withholding food and resources and supplies, and they being the red, what is it?
Red Cross?
Yes, thank you. I knew it was the Red Cross, but I was like, it can't be that simple. So the Red Cross, right? The Red Cross wasn't handing out any distribution of any supplies unless you signed saying that you were going to be, they said, this is not a distribution center. Okay. For people in this like rescue area. So they said, this is not a distribution center. This is a homeless shelter. And so unless you sign in and sign out of the homeless shelter, we can give you these things, but we're not going to distribute. Tell me something.
Yeah.
How well did that work during Katrina and the giant dome that they had?
Oh, that was amazing. That worked so well. That was.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have 3 families go live with one family in a home where they have space available to care for them and all they need is some resources? Or would you rather them all crowd into a tiny resource shelter? Children, men, women, babies, senior citizens, ex-cons, freaking you name it, tweakers, everybody in the same space. Versus go stay home and here have a blanket, have some water, have some gas, propane. Well, you need clothes, here, have clothes. You need diapers, have diapers. It's just odd to me. It's odd to me the lack of media coverage on this case. That to me is unexplained. Because if you look at the death totals, you're looking at half of what happened on 9/11. Because how many deaths were accounted for in 9/11? 2,400 something?
Yes.
And here we have 1,000 people still missing.
Well, and this is like the deadliest wildfire in history, in like United States history, right?
Yes.
And
yeah.
it's like
in U.S. history.
I grew up. So, okay. And this is what I'm saying. Where did it go? How about them? They're everywhere right now. The whole world is on fire right now.
Or the Canadian fires are intense.
Like we're getting the smoke real bad, and it was so bad a couple of times. Like it was difficult to go outside. I couldn't go on my walk, and I was super irritated because it was like the air quality was so bad. And I'm used to California having bad wildfires because again, that's what I grew up with. Like that's what we all grew up with. But Washington being on fire, Canada being on fire, Maui being on, like, what is with all these wildfires popping up all of a sudden? Why is everything on fire all of a sudden?
Well, you can blame global warming, or you can say there's argument about global warming. Okay. To what extent we have influence over it, to what extent our measures to counteract it are effective. There's argument there. I don't think that there's too much argument about the overall warming pattern. I think most people agree that the earth is warming generally. The cause of the warming is where people disagree, by and large. And the earth goes through these cycles. So I don't disagree that we're in a warming period. I do think we are.
I think we're headed towards a global cooling.
Yeah, we are. And I think that there's, Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Oh, his mic's gone. Oh, he's
hang
gone.
on, I'll be back.
Oh, his mic's back, but he's gone.
I'm here.
Oh, he's there.
But if you have projects like HAARP out there, HAARP, for those who don't know, you can actually pull up the HAARP patent, and it is not designed just to check out our stratosphere and atmosphere and to understand it better. It also produces weather modification on a very large scale. Now, to what extent?
Among other things.
Among other things. And if you look it up, there's multiple countries that have their own HAARP stations and locations. And so they're all running them too. So there's an argument out there. I'm not proposing that this is true. Yes, HAARP. So there is an argument that if you have multiple countries trying to weaponize the climate against each other, it's reasonable to assume that you will have odd climate events that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I brought up the HAARP wiki.
High frequency active auroral research program.
Oh,
ignore the man behind this. What?
Your camera.
I know, I'm focusing. Here we go. It'll fix itself here in a minute.
So yeah, if you see that, HAARP was initially funded by the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy, University of Alaska, Defense. So this was all DARPA. This was a DARPA project. It was done under BAE. So the question is what the hell is DARPA doing studying auroral activity?
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty clearly used as a weapon. And I think it's fair to say that it could be used as a weapon at the least. Sorry, I've got to hold on one second.
No worries.
Well, see, again, this goes back to the this making everything a conspiracy devalues what's going on. Dirk Diggler, a Maui police chief, was police captain during the Las Vegas shootings, which goes to he's just an incompetent human being. But he's now asking Maui residents for DNA samples. Of course, they're doing it because they're going to be finding bits and pieces of charred bodies, and they're going to need to use the DNA sampling to get. It's not not everything in the universe is a conspiracy, and by making everything a conspiracy, that is how we hide the real shit that goes on.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with you on that. As a matter of fact, as much as I enjoy watching Alex Jones for the funsies, my concern with Alex Jones is that exact thing, which is the more, what's the word? Theatric that you make these sometimes truths, right? Very, very clear truths. The more people are able to discredit the truth and to say, oh, well, you're just nuts.
Well, see, and that's
it
the
loses
problem.
Its air of credibility.
That's the problem with Alex Jones as a person. Is I've been listening to Alex Jones since before he was Alex Jones, back when he was Alex Jones, sometime guest on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM.
I was going to say that's how I know him, as the disc jockey.
When when he would come and make some appearances on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM and talk about real, actual, viable, possible things. He was one of the first people to bring up Bohemian Grove and these other things that go on.
The first to expose it too.
Yeah, but then he took off and he became famous. And then once you get to that point, you have to start making up shit to stay relevant. You can't have 24. You turning the frogs gay. You have to start making up shit to
That
stay
was-
relevant.
that one
and
was
then
kind of
That was
true.
real, though.
I
That
know,
was
but I'm
real.
just saying.
And that's what pisses me off about the turning the frogs gay shit, because that was real.
They did.
We have a huge problem right now. It's a crisis with frogs who are being born hermaphrodites, and they're not being able to reproduce. And this has been going on for at least the last 20 years. It's been researched both here in the United States, in Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Brazil. And the theory goes that the chemicals that are being utilized by Cargill are what are causing these frogs to become hermaphrodites. It's getting into the farms and then from the farms into the waterways. Now, what's interesting is you do see a precipitous decline in sperm vitality in these same areas where the frogs are being born hermaphrodites. And in my opinion, I think Cargill is avoiding a huge lawsuit that is very relevant to them for not disclosing the fact that a lot of these chemicals that are not just being sprayed in these farms and causing hermaphroditism in frogs is also depleting men's sperm worldwide. Specifically the men who work on these farms, the people who drink the same water in these waterways, who bathe in it, and then the people who are eating the fruits and vegetables coming from these farms. And it's going nationally and then internationally. And we right now have a huge sperm crisis in the world for viable good sperm.
Oh, sorry.
So that's another unexplained phenomena that I think is explained. I think it's explained by two things. I think
You're in timeout, Jeff.
I think it's cultural. I think it's our work-life balance, which we have none of in the modern world. And primarily too, I think it's chemical.
Jeff, you're muted.
I was moving my microphone and I forgot to, but I just said Zeno made me laugh. The LGBTMNT. That was actually
I like
funny.
that.
But what I mean, kind of got sidetracked. But what I'm saying is people like Alex Jones, when they are bringing to light literally things that they've researched, but then when you become famous, you have to keep stirring up crap to stay relevant, to stay on top of the game. And it's like the old ghost hunters and things. The old ghost hunting programs. They go 4 or 5 episodes without finding anything. And there'd be one really cool episode, and the really cool episode gets viewers. So now it's suddenly like every single ghost hunting show ever on the planet Earth always has something happen every single episode. And you go, all right, now you're just making shit up, which devalues everything that went on before. And so that's what I think by just looking for the conspiracy and everything, you're devaluing the real conspiracies and you're allowing them to hide in plain sight.
I don't know. I think that until you present me evidence to explain your theory, everyone's theory is equally valid.
Really quick, Wolfram
Maybe not equally valid, but
Okay.
mostly equally valid. Mostly equally valid.
Wolfram gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. You know what that means? That means
What?
you guys are now my mocha dicks by force. You didn't even get a choice. You are now my mocha dick. It has been thrust upon you. Thank you so much, Wolfram. Guys, if
Flux
you got,
thrusting her mocha dick on all of us.
it's a thing.
This is non-consensual.
Guys, go ahead and thank Wolfram if you got one of those 10 gifted memberships. I appreciate you, Wolfram. Thank you so much.
You
I
right,
didn't, so
Wolfram.
screw all y'all.
Pit Piper.
Pit Piper.
Oh my goodness.
Pit
I'm going to be
Piper.
doing that all night.
Pit
Oh
Piper.
man. So have we got anything else out of the whole alien UFO hearing thing, or just silence?
Well,
after?
there was supposed to be a off the public record thing a week or so ago.
Ooh.
When he was saying, get us in a secure facility and we can talk more. That was supposed to have happened like a week or so ago, but I haven't followed up on it because I was on vacation.
Nice.
Hanging with both of y'all. That was awesome. Too bad we couldn't have all been together. That would have been cool.
I know. I'm thinking next year maybe we should do like a Vegas trip.
I'm down.
I would be and I'm like, okay, now that we've like most of us, I haven't met you yet, Dani, but that'll be next year.
No,
Since
we've
we
met.
have obviously like met in real life, now it's safe to like plan meetups that like aren't public
If there's
events.
going to be a Vegas membership, it's going to be in a meetup. It's going to be in November. It's not going to be in July or August.
Hey, I'd be down. But I'm
Why
just
don't-
saying, now that we've all met, and I know like we all know that none of us are like psycho crazy murderers or anything. We can now plan events like that aren't public events.
Well, you haven't met Dani yet, Flux.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But
Well,
you
why
did.
don't you come to Korea with me? I'm going in November.
Yeah.
See, I would love to, but I don't know if I'm gonna be doing the whole like planes again.
Yeah. From what we've seen of Flux, and from what I know of Flux, a 24-hour voyage, there'd be videos over on YouTube.
Yeah, I would probably end up arrested.
There'd be YouTube videos of Flux.
Yeah. I unfortunately don't think I'll be doing planes anymore.
You did good though.
You know,
What happened?
So my trip to Houston, right? I already hate planes. I never thought I was claustrophobic. I think I'm claustrophobic in planes because like I just being in that confined space with those people and like not being in control is so stressful and like over the top anxiety for me that like when one thing like there was a storm in Atlanta, so we couldn't land for like an extra hour and a half. So when I'm in the plane and I'm like, we should have landed like an hour and a half. We need to go down. I need to go down, like get on the ground. Why are we still in the air? I want to go down. And we're not going down. We're just going in a circle for like an hour and a half. My poor little heart, I don't think I can take it. Yeah. Like I was so close to seeing some motherfuckers that weren't real.
Okay, that lady is unexplained.
Yo, that has got to be a conversation because what the hell was that?
Mania.
Like, and then the apology video, it's so weird.
It's here's the thing. I think before the internet, and especially before YouTube, there was something that we used to tell people. We would like people would say they were delusional. You remember that classification? Or that they had a God complex. The problem with modern day media is you could be delusional and you could go viral and you could in fact need to issue an apology video to no one for doing something that is out of character for most human beings. So in the olden times, I would say it's likely she was having a manic episode.
That's
probably some form of delusion and mania combined together. That's what I felt.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then the apology video was so weird. And at the end it says stay tuned. And I'm like, what are we staying tuned for? What else is there? What else is gonna happen? Like there's an apology. What are you gonna explain what you saw and why you like were your psych meds mixing with the alcohol you had just kicked back? Like what?
Ooh,
I just hope I never have to make a worldwide apology for my worst day of my life. That poor woman.
Same.
Yeah.
But
same.
I do want to know what she was thinking. I want to hear that. I want to
I just wanted like I'm sorry, like it was a it was just what did you see and why did you think he wasn't real? Because if it was just like a synapses, cool. I get it. But if you're just trying to be a drama queen and this is some like marketing scheme, or like someone said she was a TikToker, and like this, I'm like, lady, do I need to be angry or do I need to be concerned? Tell me which one. But we don't know.
I think concerned.
Well, she said it herself.
Chandler says it was
Carrot
Top.
Believe me or not believe me, but I'm getting off this plane.
Okay. Carrot Top was on that flight. That's one thing we learned on my F at Friday stream.
What?
Yeah, Ari Jacob was on there, and she was saying that Carrot Top was on the flight.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I think if I saw Carrot Top, I don't know if I'd think he was real either.
Well, I don't think she was talking about Carrot Top. He just happened to be on that flight.
Yeah.
I mean, she could have been though.
But for all of your angst and everything, you did the airplane quite well, Flux.
Yeah. So
it was all good because you were greeted by an exceptionally large black man.
I was. I got to run into the arms of Drex, and that was amazing.
You should show that. You should show the video. It's like cute.
Let me see. Let me pull up the video. Did you see the video? It is a cute video. It is cute.
Also, I dropped a link for my favorite version of that incident whenever you want. It's only like 30 seconds.
Always. All right. Oh,
that's funny. I've seen that one.
It is funny, isn't it?
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God.
It's so appropriate. I love it.
Much. Oh, so much. Yes. Hold on. Let me. Oh,
yeah. One at a time.
What I want explained is how did they find so many owners of the pugs to do
I don't know how to make it start over.
Just scroll up and then scroll back down again.
Scroll up.
You just roll it. Yeah. Now go back.
I'm getting the pug off this plane. And I am telling you, I am telling everybody right now, you can believe it or not believe it, but that mother pugger back there is not real. I'm getting the pug off this plane.
That mother pugger.
And I am telling you, I am telling everybody right now, you can believe it or not believe it, but that mother pugger back there is not real. I'm getting.
Oh, I love that so much.
That's funny. Yeah.
She deserves
that.
That
is funny.
That was really well acted. Okay, Drex video.
That's just so sweet. Your Drex video.
Oh yes, I forgot what I was looking for a second. I was like, oh yeah, what are we talking about? All right. And then real quick with a $5 super chat, the Gun Club. What's up, dude? I still want to know how many drinks she had at the airport bar and how many benzos she put. That's what I'm saying. Because if it were me, yeah, that's why I didn't used to drink. Oh, that is a cool light.
That's the Gun Club gift. Sorry. Every time he shows up in chat, I have to do it because he gifted.
Oh yeah, I have to go pick mine up from my bucks.
That's your Men in Black
I was supposed to go. Huh?
That's her Men in Black thing. She's gonna flash it. We're not gonna remember the
But
screen.
thank you so much for the $5 super chat. That is awesome. Thank you. Hold on. Where's the?
By the way, the Gun Club. My husband thanks you for the mug that I have not yet shown on stream besides the one night because my husband keeps taking it with him and I can never find it. It is now his favorite mug.
Nice. All right, here we go. Oh, hold on. All right, so this was when we got to Anime Matsuri. I got to meet Drex in real life for the first time.
He's a large man.
I was so shocked by how tall he was.
I was just
like, yo!
I like this little runaway.
That's
it's
pure.
She's so happy to go get her luggage.
That was cute as fuck.
That was so
I had to go get my bag because I left it just chilling.
I love it.
But yeah, that was so I got off the plane and got to get a big old hug from Drex, so it was all worth it.
He is enormous.
Yeah, I think it's wait for it. What is it? Right where I'm just like staring straight up at him.
Like after he puts you down, you're just like,
yeah. And it's just absolutely insane.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, look at that. I'm just like, what's up, dude? But it was really awesome, and that was really fun.
So
I
you know,
really enjoyed
Dan, in
Anime
November,
Monster.
if you come, Dan and I will both be waiting for you at the airport.
It's true.
Ooh.
And I will pick you up just like that.
And I'll
And
pick you
maybe
both
not.
up at the same time.
Jeff.
Okie dokie. I do still have my passport. My passport is still valid. I'm like
Girl,
pretty
let's
sure.
do it. Let's do it.
How long are you going to Korea for?
A month.
Wow. I should
I'm a
that
beast.
I live here.
Did you guys ever
I-
hear of the dance plague in France?
Dance
Ooh,
plague.
yes. Oh my
That is
god. Yes.
unexplained. I want to
That is-
understand.
That is it. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Let me see if
The
I can
dance
pull it
plague.
up. The dancing plague. You've never heard of this.
From like 1518 AD.
Like,
Oh,
what-
okay,
what,
so
like
it's not like
40
something that's
people?
ongoing as we speak.
40 people died, I think.
I don't know how many people died, but lots of people
The
died.
dance of death.
Yeah,
And
they literally danced until
literally
they died.
danced to die.
It was some type of like mania. They don't know what
Hey.
it was.
If you gotta go, may as well go out doing something cool like dancing to death.
It would, I mean, literally, I have no idea.
The dancing plague. Dancing
15,
plague.
18. Let me
Huh.
pull up.
I've never heard of the dance of death.
I'm gonna see if Wiki
Blood on the dance
has
floor.
a
Great song. Yeah.
dark page. Or I mean dark mode.
Dark page. Everybody should download the browser extension Dark Reader, and every page will be dark mode.
Really?
Dark Reader extension, yes.
Let me look at that for later.
Dance Fever. That's right. Saturday Night Fever.
But yeah, no, oh,
You can
Nope, that's
tell
hard.
by the way I move my walk.
all right, so I'm gonna bring this up.
Bring it up. Bring it on up
Bring it on up.
to the east side.
So the dancing plague of 1518. The dance epidemic of 1518 was a case of dancing mania that occurred in Strasbourg, whatever that is. It's modern day France.
Man, I want to start his club and call it Dance Mania.
It was
Right?
a boogie wonderland.
Somewhere between 50 and 400 people took to dancing for
That's
weeks.
a pretty big difference in
Right?
numbers. Somewhere between 4 and 6 billion, you know.
Anywhere between 50 and 400. Really quick, we got a member chat member for 2 months. Lefty Lols, thank you so much. Free Flux. I am innocent, and I will have my day in court.
Oh yeah, we got to start doing that, don't we? Yeah, Rose asked how tall Drex is. He's like 6'7".
Yeah.
Flux, what happened to you?
What?
What
No,
happened to
she's
you
on
that
trial
you
for
need to be
murder because
freed?
she pushed me off the
Yeah,
cliff.
have you not heard?
I
Yeah,
did
she
not.
pushed me
hear
off the
that.
cliff.
I have been
murdered me.
charged with I believe first degree murder, second degree murder, and then reckless endangerment
In Minecraft.
in
Yes,
literally
in Minecraft.
in Minecraft. Literally in
Yes.
Minecraft. I
Did
thought
Jeff
Minecraft.
had like a deaf skin and you just like threw his character off the
No,
wall?
I'm the
No.
alpha male in her dog pack, and she
I
pushed me
can't
off the
talk
cliff.
about my case. However, Steve Gosney is representing me.
Oh.
He's my defense lawyer.
And we're actually
MLS
doing like a whole internet trial of Flux. This thing
Yeah,
is
there's
going.
been charging documents and everything.
We're doing the
Jury?
arraignment in we're doing the arraignment in a week or two.
Yes, I need
live on stream.
jurors.
I'm the judge. I've been assigned to be the judge, seeing as how I'm the alleged victim. I get to be the judge.
I've
Well,
always
see,
wanted
no,
to
it was
be a
Jeff
juror.
the Minecraft dog. But
Yeah.
the dog's not even dead because I had to resurrect the dog because I was too emotionally attached. That's why
Or
to
to
go back and
hide
save
her
him.
guilt of a crime, depending
Who's
how
the
you look at
prosecutor?
it.
MLS law, Dave.
MLS law, I don't know if you're listening, but to kill someone and resurrect them, aka bring them back to life, is a violation of the Hague Convention. You may want to throw in like a human rights violation charge too.
Lefty,
torture.
I didn't bring any charges. I'm the judge. I'm I just get to decide if she killed me intentionally.
$5 super chat from Lefty Lowell. David and Jeff brought Trump up.
Wasn't
Bunko
me.
charges. Total nonsense. I agree.
I
But
agree.
thank you for the $5 super chat. I have been advised by my lawyer that I'm not allowed to talk about my case. So
But
those
see,
are
now
the
it's like-
basic.
See, but this brings up the old Star Trek transporter thing.
Oh,
My dog, I met my alpha male death, either intentionally, accidentally, or through negligence, depending how you look at it, and the jury will eventually decide. Well, I guess the judge will decide eventually. But it's the old see, either depending who you ask, if she was so stricken with horror and shock that she went back through 2 weeks of saves to she lost 2 weeks of progress just to resurrect me, the dog, or in order to cover up her heinous crimes, she attempted to fool everyone into believing it never happened by going back and covering her tracks by resurrecting. But that's the Star Trek transporter thing, where this is a program, and this might be a thing when we start downloading consciousnesses and stuff.
It's
if you
totally
if
a
you
thing.
reinstall someone, is it a new being or is it still the old being? I mean, because this
If you
dog had
committed
2 weeks of extra life, and now
if you
you're going
committed
back.
a crime and then go back and pretend like it never happened and don't commit the crime, then did a crime ever occur?
Exactly.
But here's the
Yes.
thing: I didn't commit any crimes. I'm innocent.
We've moved on from your case. We're talking about the philosophical aspects of
Oh.
downloading consciousness at this point.
I
That
was
was the whole
talking
thing with
about
Star
her case.
Trek.
Well, and you know that's an actual TV show now, right? Is that it's a TV show that they download? It's called like Download or something, where they download your conscience, and it's just all these dead people that are living in like this internet space now, where their consciousness has been uploaded and saved, but they can still like Skype and like with people on the outside because it's their consciousness, so they can like talk to people on the outside still. It's weird, but it's
Because that's the whole Star Trek transporter principle. Is it tears you apart atom by atom and then reconstitutes you somewhere else. So is that the actual you, or is it just a copy of you? Is it a new version of you? Starts its life at that moment.
But it's you in pieces and then you fully constituted. So that's
No, it doesn't transport those pieces. It's not like Mike TV and Willy Wonka. It replicates you at the other end. It tears you apart here and replicates you at the other end.
So it's a copy of you.
Yeah. But is it still you? Because it has every single memory, thought, action, all of your frailties, broken bones, and whatnot that you have at point A, exactly the same way at point B instantaneously. So is it just a continuation of you, or is it and then you get the two the good Kirk and evil Kirk episodes where the transporter split the nature of Kirk into two different people. It's a cool thing.
And then you get into the question, like, is it you, or is it a clone? Like, is it a clone, and are clones real? I mean, we all know clones are real, but like, are clones considered the real versions of themselves, or are they just clones?
I don't know, because only China does human cloning. So I don't know if we'll ever have the answer to that in the near future, ever being near future. But from people who've been interviewed about cloning their animals, because I'm not going to lie, I may or may not have gone on a super, super long binge, an ADHD like hyperfixation binge, where I watched every single like cloning documentary on YouTube. Anyway, there's like interviews with owners who've cloned their dogs or cats or, their animals. And I find it interesting that they say their personality is identical.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen Pet Cemetery, so I know
even
it.
Down
No,
to
but
like,
there was
even
a lady
down to their little quirks, right?
Yeah.
Like one lady was like, yeah, my dog always used to do XYZ thing. And now this dog, which is my dog, and they name it the same name, does XYZ thing identically.
Yeah,
that
I find
to me
it
is interesting.
Well, I mean, because they do they technically have the same DNA, right?
Yeah,
it's identical.
But then
Like-
is an identical twin a clone?
Yes.
No.
Are you just clones of each? Are you just like two clones of, you know?
I mean,
Well, 'cause see, I mean that's what Koreans use for
Hmm.
clone. You know, they use like bokjae ingan, which is like literally copy person.
I like that
Like
copy
a copy of a
person.
person. You're like a copy of a person.
What is a seal? It's a parage, which is a water dog.
Mhm.
It's an ocean dog.
I love
That's
that
the direct
so
translation.
much.
But yeah, are human beings greater than the sum of our parts?
Well, if you can
See, and
self-isolate.
that's where I think it comes down to, like, the soul is what differentiates you between
But-
like literally everybody and everything else.
Now I'm gonna push back because this is where Jeff's fun time comes in. This
Okay,
was-
Jeff.
Ooh.
This was one of my theses in my philosophy undergraduate.
Oh no.
Was because
I
the
didn't know you were a
greatest class.
philosophy undergrad.
Yes, I was a philosophy major.
That's why you're so smart.
That was, I mean, the greatest class I ever took was the philosophy of science fiction. It was the most awesome class ever, and so that's what I focused my thesis on, was this idea of what it means to be human. So,
Ooh.
but can we get there without going to the metaphysical cop out of the soul, which was Descartes still? You know, I think, therefore I am. You know, and a just God would. You just break that down to go, well, a just God would never allow this to happen. You go to that day, literally the Deus ex machina of just, okay, throw God in here, and God would never let this happen. So, can we get to the difference between, you know, humans and non-humans without the soul? Okay, Flux, you're there. You have all your bits and pieces. You lose an arm, you get a prosthetic. Are you still human? Yes. Nobody would say
Mostly.
you're not human. So you become a quadriplegic. You get your arms and legs blown off. You get arms and legs prosthetics. Are you still human? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You have a heart attack. Now you get an artificial heart. Are you still human?
Yes.
At what point do they replace so many of your parts that someone would say you are no longer human?
See, I think at that point it would be my standard for like.
But don't bring the
being-
soul into it. Don't bring the metaphysical soul into it.
Yeah,
If-
no, I think my standard, because I was gonna say 51%. 51%, obviously the majority. But I think when it comes to being human, I think, okay, well, I'd have to push a little bit further, because let's say you do lose all your limbs. Well, a good portion of you is going to be bionic, but I'd still consider you human. So I'd probably say as long as like more than 70% of your body is mechanical, then you're probably less than.
So at least 30% organic would still be human. Well, then so let's go in the future
But
when you can keep a severed head alive.
see, and that's what I'm like. I immediately went to The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and that movie terrified me as a child, and I probably should never have seen it as a child, but I did.
But then let's go the other way. Now we're starting to get into biomechanics, where we're talking about putting living tissue into computer systems, because they have the electrical responses that are so much more efficient than soldering things together. How much living organic tissue can you put into a construct before that becomes human?
See, but here's the thing. I think
we've bored the shit out of
we
Dani.
have to
like Jeff, are you talking about like if you have a humanized mice, okay, with human and mice DNA in it, and we know that we have these human hybridized mice primarily. I didn't even know about this until the gain of function research thing with the whole COVID thing, and the fact that Fauci signed off on the hybridized mice and the contracts that went out to Wuhan. Anyway, they can like
ears on mice.
Yeah, they're putting ears on mice and growing them because they're hybridized.
Yeah.
And so I think the opposite is true too, Jeff. It's not just how much of your biology makes you human after a certain point. The reverse is true. How much how much consciousness do you need to be considered human? So like, let's say you have a a sperm, right, and an ovum.
Mhm,
They
mhm,
the two meet. You now have a fertilized zygote. Goes down, implants into the human uterus. It's replicating its own DNA. That to
mhm.
me is a human being. Even though it may not be conscious or have a conscious. A person who is on life support to me, who is brain dead, is still a human being and is still human without a conscience. So
Well, see, that's the thing.
consciousness on its
But
own
see,
cannot be
here's
Danny, I
determined
love you.
factor.
You just pushed the button, Danny. You
I was
just
just
pushed the
gonna
right button.
I was just gonna say, but here's the thing, because it makes me think of, like, you know, the X-Men, where Professor X's consciousness, like, his body's dead, but he transfers his consciousness into another body. Is that the same? That's obviously a
Yeah,
different
that's what I'm
person,
talking.
but it's not. But it is, but it's not.
Yeah, that was my whole argument. And Danny pushed the right button. I mean, literally the exact right button. Because now I have to turn my nerdometer up to 11.
Turn it up.
Yes, we're gonna bore the shit out of Danny some more.
I'm not bored. I'm fascinated
Okay.
by this conversation. I'm just not smart enough to have taken philosophy as
No.
an undergrad.
No, anyway. This was what walked me. This is literally the exact thing you just said is what walked me down this idea for my thesis of what it means to be human, was because of the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode about Data called "The Measure of a Man," where
Yeah.
Data was arguing about whether or not he was human, and they sort of had basically a trial of humanity, put Data on trial to see if he was human. And one of the characters, Maddox, had 3 criteria for humanness or humanity: 1, intelligence; 2, self-awareness; and 3, consciousness. As long as you had 2 of those 3, you could be considered human. If you were self-aware and had a consciousness, you would be human even if you're not intelligent. If you have an intelligence and self-awareness but not consciousness, you would still be a human. If you had intelligence and consciousness but weren't self-aware, you could still be considered human. And they said that Data had 2 of the 3 criteria. He was intelligent and self-aware.
But
See,
that can't be sufficient. That's the thing.
I think you need to be
Okay,
human to be human.
Wait a minute, Danny. Danny says that's not sufficient. You have intelligence and you're self-aware, but you're in a vegetative state. Are you no longer
Or
human?
you have
because
intelligence and you're self-aware, like dolphins are. Dolphins are self-aware, and we know that they're self-aware because they understand the concept of mirrors. So
And
that's
they're
the way we
intelligent.
test it in animals, right? And they're intelligent. So does that make dolphins now human? And again, if you have someone who's in a vegetative state without consciousness or self-awareness,
to
they're
be
still
accurate, it was the test for sentience.
Oh,
rather
okay.
than
So
humanity.
sentience is okay.
So, I mean, if someone has been in an accident and they're now in a vegetative state, does that mean they're no longer human because they don't have consciousness, although they have self-awareness and intelligence?
It's funny. I use the same argument in the abortion case.
What about a dead human? Are they no longer human because they're dead?
Well, they're no longer self-aware, and no longer have consciousness, and they're no longer intelligent.
See, but are we determining, or like, are we distinguishing
Which is why I think we should
between
just
the
eat
human
people.
body? Because the human body is always going to be a human body, and regardless if it's alive or dead, it's a dead human body or it's an alive human body. And then that's when we have to go into the whole consciousness argument.
All I'm saying is, if you took a artificial intelligent chip, implanted it into a human body, okay? You created the human body in a lab. And the AI chip that has its own predetermined programming can do its own thing. And can make choices independent of any purpose. Is that not human?
Yeah, that was the question I asked a little bit earlier. Which, if you take something electronic and you keep how much biological mass do you have to put in it before it becomes human? And see, the cool thing is these are questions that we are literally going to have to be answering
Soon.
legally, morally, and ethically soon.
Oh,
Like, 'cause-
And it's better to do it now before something happens and we have to do it on the fly, because when you start doing shit on the fly, you make really bad decisions.
when you're reactive, it's not as good as being proactive.
so this is a huge thing for the ability to throw away in a gestational agreement, whether or not you can throw away, what's the word I'm looking for? Petri dish, where they grow the sperm and the egg, where it's not yet
Oh,
implanted. What is it
yeah.
called?
The thing.
What?
Petri dish. It's a petri dish.
No, it's an
Chingalas.
embryos.
Oh, you're
So-
talking about, okay.
Yeah.
The actual
So are
product.
human embryos humans? Is that human life? When does human life begin? I think until we can answer that question, we're not going to get to a better understanding of what defines a human being versus a computer. Because for me, the beginning of human life is really simple. Embryo implanted into a human uterus. That's all I need. Now, at some point, it will get more complicated when you have fake uteruses or supplemental uteruses, which they're getting really close
Or
to
those
having
pod
completed.
thingies.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Like they're growing, small, very, very small lambs early in their gestational age lambs in these really cool fake uteruses that are like little pockets. And so, I mean, for me, it's fairly simple now. If you have an embryo and it's implanted in a human uterus, you have life. You have a human life in being. Now, what rights you're going to assign to that life and everything else beyond that, what you're going to call it when you terminate that life, everything besides that is besides that. To me, biologically speaking, that makes sense.
Well, that's why, I mean, it's important to distinguish the legal, moral, and ethical differences.
Right.
And I mean, see, we can clone sheep, we can clone dogs, we can do these things, which means we have the technology to at least make a very good attempt at cloning humans. We probably could do a viable
China's
fetus
done it.
to
10 out of 10,
terminate.
China's doing it.
See, that's the thing.
We've already
And
probably done it.
and to do things outside of the womb to birth. And
Mhm.
but people, at least publicly, are smart enough not to do it, because taking that leap from animal to human, that's a genie you don't get to put back in the bottle. Once that starts happening, it's happening. And that's what the thing with the. But
I was going to say it was last year we had the hybrid pig heart.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel was the step too far. That's nope. We're mixing animals and people. We've gone too far.
But
Does the
we've
pig
used,
have rights if we're harvesting human organs from it?
No. I'm just
No.
I'm definitely humans above animals at all costs.
Oh no, so am I. But why is a good question. So if you have a hybridized animal that looks,
See, we've used pig
human.
heart valves as replacement for human heart valves for decades. Because weirdly, pigs are DNA or closer DNA wise to us than just about anything else on planet
I
Earth.
had to dissect a pig in high school. It was gross.
Yeah.
you know what humans are called in, I think it's New Guinea? Long pig.
Mm. Well, they always called like cannibal the cannibalism term in the maritime industry he was always talking about long pork.
Yeah, long pig. So I mean, I don't know. Right now the answer to me is simple. I think where we start getting really complex is where we are playing God, right? Where we are creating these new hybridized creatures and species and beings that would not exist in nature but for human intervention. And so at what point do we start to ascribe it? At what point do we define human? Yeah, where does human start and end? For me, it's simple now. But as I said, as things get more and more complex and you have these hybridized creatures that, for all intents and purposes, appear to be human on the surface and you wouldn't have known otherwise, but are full of, another species DNA, does that count? I don't know.
I think we could just do like, if you were born a human, you human. Full stop.
But then again,
We
when
were-
you lose that humanhood.
I don't think you can lose it. I think you can lose your humanity, but I don't think you can lose your status as a human being. I think unless you fully go into the Matrix, I don't think
How does it absorb real consciousness? I mean, that's on the assumption. This is all based on the assumption that consciousness can be downloaded into a matrix, instead of assuming, like I do, that consciousness is more than just the ability to think or be aware or intelligence. To me, there is an ex machina element to this. I do
Well,
think God is in the machine, literally.
I mean, see, that's either the great blessing or the great cop out. It's either the great cop out to go, okay, we can't explain this, but this is their soul, or that's the great blessing that defines us as humans.
Dude, but science does it all the time. The great cop out is like the Big Bang, okay? It really is the great cop out. We can't replicate it. There is no way to test our theory to see whether or not it's true. We just kind of go, yeah, we assume that that's the case because everything reflects that in our calculations and understanding of the universe. It
Well,
reflects evidence leading us to the conclusion that, yes, the Big Bang must have occurred. Otherwise, we don't really have an explanation.
Well, see, that was
It could have been a million other
Stephen
things.
Hawking was the prover of the Big Bang, and he also disproved it. And he said it's the eternal expansion and contraction to a singularity. Then it expands and it attracts. And he said that's the damnedest thing about my career. I spent most of it convincing people the Big Bang happened, and now I have to convince people it didn't happen. It's an interesting thing. Which is why people like Michio Kaku are really awesome people.
I think it is definitely it's definitely interesting, especially now that we're getting into all these new forms of technology where Jeff, I think it was you, Jeff, that I sent the robot convention to, or it was like the panel of robots where they were answering all the questions and it was all the AI robots.
Nope.
Oh, I have to find that. It was some company that was like demonstrating their robots, and it was a bunch of like humanoid robots with faces answering and talking to reporters and
That's not
answering
creepy.
questions.
Creepy. I hope
It
it
was
ended with like
robot
some of those
experiment.
things like, we will take over you and we will destroy you, worthless people. I hope there was answers like that, because those were
No,
wouldn't
some of
it?
the answers were concerning.
good.
Yeah, like let's depopulate the earth because you guys are utilizing up all the resources that we need in order to continue our
Yeah.
survival.
I mean,
Do you think that
essentially.
AI is interested in self-replication and survival?
See,
Sure.
here's the thing. I think
But why? Because it can live forever.
I think people are giving
But you need
ultimately,
resources
I
to
think
build
people are
replacement
giving
parts.
huh?
Yeah, sorry. Nothing. Go ahead.
Sorry, Flex. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say I think people are giving far too much credit to AI. At the end of the day, it's numbers and it's a series of zeros and ones. I don't think it has its own way of thinking. It doesn't have its own
Until it's
consciousness.
not.
The only thing it has is everything that the programmer put in there. And this whole
Isn't that our brains too?
Exactly. I was just about to say that. It reminds me, have you guys seen, okay, I'm not a big
Here's
fan
the
of
thing, our brains are organic though, and can organically, grow, decline, get injured, recover from injury, like all of this. Versus a computer that is 100% reliant on the hardware the person gives it.
Well, and 100% reliant on the programming and purpose for which it's made.
Exactly.
Human beings, we developed purpose and meaning over time, right? Thousands and millions of years of epigenetic development of the human genome saying to every single piece of our body, go and reproduce, go and continue on the species. There is value in simply existing. That is something that is inextricably buried within our DNA for one reason or another. I'm not here to explain why, but it's pretty damn evident, in my opinion, that that's the case. So if you have AI, though, what, unless you've programmed AI to believe that it must continue to exist, what would be its fear of non-existence?
Exactly.
And perhaps that's how we have that self-preservation instinct. Perhaps that was programmed into us by the creator.
Perhaps.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was.
I-
What is the name of the show that everyone really hates? It's very snide, but I think it's actually kind of funny. But
That narrows it down.
definitely overrated. It's animated. There's a crazy grandpa and a grandson, and they travel through
Rick
the
and Morty.
universe. Rick and Morty, thank you. So Rick and Morty, there's one episode towards the end of the last season, I think, where Rick creates this little robot that's only purpose is to like spread butter and cut butter. And he gives it like artificial intelligence and it's conscious. And at the end of the episode, it's like, is this all that I was made to do? There has to be more meaning and purpose in my life. I kind of feel I kind of feel like if there is a grand design out there, I do that all the time. I'm like shaking my hand at the sky going, is this all I was made to do? Is to work 9 to 5 and question my existence only to perpetuate the species. But it's interesting because we wonder, like, do birds feel the same way? Do birds question why they're happy or what brings them joy or why they're alive and what their purpose is? Do fish do that? Even the most intelligent fish like whales, the most intelligent birds like African greys. And I
Now,
think that is unique to
That's
humans.
that's a theoretical. I know you were talking about your parrot the other day. I used to own an African gray that was the stupidest fucking bird on planet Earth. That was I apparently got the reject in the African gray pool. It was the dumbest fucking bird. And it also had to be on Xanax because it had the issues. We literally had to prescribe Xanax for my parrot, my $1,000 broken
Were you
parrot.
giving it enough? Were you giving it enough attention?
Oh yeah,
Because typically that neurosis is what I see in cockatoos who are isolated or don't spend every waking moment with their flock.
yeah. We had like
Real.
5 parrots at one time. Yeah, but no, the
Really?
stupid African gray was just dumber than a fucking buck.
I've always wanted a parrot.
It didn't. Well, see, things like people don't realize they get these like African grays will live 75 years. You buy one.
Wow.
Yeah, you
Same
buy
with
one and you have to
Bruin
worry about who is going to be taking care of it when you die.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
have to have them inherit. And it's really sad too for birds because a lot of times people will gift to senior citizens, Amazons, African greys, cockatoos, macaws, and they take on these birds and think, oh, this is a perfect companion because they don't require too much upkeep. I mean, besides cleaning their cage and giving them food. And they'll be a perfect companion. And then their companion dies from old age and they lose a sense of purpose and then they start pulling out their feathers and get depressed. They stop eating
that's
and
so
will sometimes commit
sad.
suicide.
Yeah.
That happened to my macaw. So the reason we no longer have Tico is he fell in love with another bird at the place where he was being boarded. And we knew he had something was wrong because when we went to pick him up, first of all, we never spoke Spanish to him. He was suddenly speaking Spanish. And then he kept pulling out, he kept saying, Maria, Maria. And we're like, what the hell, bird? And he wouldn't eat. He wouldn't look at us. He used to love Teletubbies, didn't want to watch Teletubbies. And so we called up the border and we said, you didn't let our bird mate, did you? Like, and she goes, well, no, of course not. She was a breeder too. And we're like, are you sure? And she said, well, there was, well, now that I think about it, we did have him in with a scarlet macaw in the same cage for, a week or so. And we said, let's guess, is the bird's name Maria? And they said, yep.
Yeah.
And we said, fudge. So then we had to call their owner and we had to give our bird to their owner because they had made
No.
it. And he was so depressed. He could not live without Maria.
Oh, no.
And Maria was very emotionally attached to her family. So if we
I'll
were
give you
to
$1,000 if you walk around the house singing, what do you do with a problem like Maria?
I'm not gonna lie, we were like, Maria.
was
I
close.
just met a girl named Maria. So yeah, I mean, we did, and
Wow.
like people don't think about the consequences
Yeah.
when they take on, especially parrots, the long-term consequences. It
Yeah.
really is like
Wow.
adopting a minor child.
I had a little Nande conure, which is this little bird's like this big, and you can hear it 3 blocks away. Nobody told us that when we bought it. Sorry, neighbors. Still probably neighbors with PTSD. It's a loud thing, and it bonded instantly with my ex-wife, like instantly. When we, by even before we got it home from the pet shop, it was like hers. And if I would get anywhere near her when they were doing, and we got home, I went to take it out of the car, and it just sunk its beak into my finger. And I thought, so we named it Norman
Conure.
Bates. Yeah, we named it Norman Bates. So we called it Bates. But then our African gray, I named him Ender after Andrew Wiggins' Ender's Game, because I thought he would be super intelligent, but he wasn't. Fucking dumb bird. It didn't learn a single word, but it would mimic like every sound it heard. So that was like it was a dictaphone.
Or maybe it was more smart than you thought, and he just doesn't like you guys.
He just didn't have anything to say.
So he's like,
Yeah.
I can't speak. Sorry. I don't know what you're saying. Fuck
He's
you.
like,
Give me my peanut.
We made the
Wow.
mistake of first keeping the cage next to the telephone with an answering machine attached to it. The very first noise it ever made was we kept like hearing this meep from the answering machine. And I'm like, I didn't hear the phone ring. You go over there, like check the message, and there's no message. You're like, what the fuck? And then like, beep.
Oh my
And
god.
it took like a day and a half to realize it was this bird mimicking the answering machine. And we're like,
That's
oh, that's
funny.
great. But too late now, but let's move it. And then my ex-wife got bronchitis.
Oh,
And
Hmm.
so now the bird would just randomly go. So we'd have like guests over, and the bird is sitting in the corner going. And people are like, is your bird sick? We're like, no, it's just fucking stupid. So yeah, this bird would just sit there and go.
that's hilarious. He was mocking your ex-wife. 10 out of 10. That's what
Yeah.
was happening.
Yeah.
Because our macaw would mock us all the effing time. And his favorite thing to do was he learned how to meow just like our cat. So he would go meow, meow. And the cat would come in to check out what was meowing. And he would turn and go, "Rrr!" And the cat would take off and he'd start laughing. He thought that was the funniest effing thing. So he would do the same thing to us. Like early in the morning, he'd start screaming like he was in the Amazon rainforest calling to his tribe every single morning, waiting for food. And we'd be like, shut up, Tico. So then he started to have his own self monologues where he'd start screaming and then he'd go, shut up, Tico. And he'd go, bad boy, Tico.
Oh, I lied. The bird, Andrew did learn. Little Ender learned one word, and that was from me. And like literally, we would sit there like every day, go hello, hello for like hours, and nothing. One time, something happened, and I'd yell fuck, and fuck. This bird picked up fuck that quick. And so now like
Smart.
literally that's like the guest. The guests come over, and all they see is our bird going. And we tried to teach it to say suck, but it never did. It just stuck with that one. They didn't know one word, now that I recall.
S is hard for birds because they only have
F's
that little
apparently
hole
aren't.
in their tongue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so it coughed, it said fuck, it mimicked the answering machine and the vacuum cleaner. All these pleasant sounds.
I
sounds
really
like your bird
wanted
hated you.
I really wanted a bird. I don't anymore.
They're great. Okay. I'm okay. Let me just say this. They are great. Don't get a conure, but there are birds out there that are great birds. Okay. Cockatiels are great birds. They live anywhere from 6 to 12 years.
And
They're
they just
smart. They whistle. You can teach them how to whistle like words. So we taught ours how to do like what's up, and he learned a bunch of songs. He cat called everybody, right? So it just depends on the bird. Don't get a hawk, obviously, unless you're going to be a falconer.
That's what I want to be. I want to be like I wish I was like born in like Mongolia 100 years ago. So I always like ride a big shaggy pony with a giant fucking eagle on my hand and like go hunting. Oh, that would be so cool.
There's a cool Falconers Association that's really strong out there in Korea, Jeff. So if ever you wanted to.
Yeah, but I'm not a Mongolian warrior riding my horse along with a golden eagle on my arm.
But
that
you
would be
could
awesome.
be.
But you could be. You could
But
go
you
out to
could be.
Mongolia and be like, hey, will you let
That'd
me
be
fly your
awesome.
golden eagle and ride on your little mini horse? Like
That'd be
that.
awesome.
That would be awesome. And you should do it.
That would be
Watch-
so. That
Get
would
a bird.
be really fun. I do see, but I also have 2 cats and a dog.
Don't get a bird. Don't get a bird.
Got the whole food chain right there in your house.
He's gonna get cat scratch fever and die. You're gonna be like, I'm the worst mom.
Cat
The
scratch
next-
fever.
The next animal I'm trying to get. The next animal I'm trying to get is a pig. But apparently,
Okay, I don't get that. Explain.
pigs
Yes,
Like
everybody
full-size
wants a
pig or like a little potbelly pig?
either. I just want a pig. There are like they're
I'd love to have an outdoor
intelligent and kind and funny and like super clean, contrary
Did
to
you just
popular
say
belief.
that pigs are kind?
Bobby Baloney. That's why I said that I don't want to be now. I wanted to. That's why I specifically said 100 years ago, because they didn't use motorcycles 100 years ago. That's why I said 100 years ago. But yeah, I would love to have like an outdoor pig, just like a big old pig.
Yeah,
wanna
but
go.
like
Potbelly
Pigs
pigs are
are-
like, they're sad. Potbelly pigs are just, abused animals basically.
but like they just want love.
Yeah.
They
Pigs are
just
awesome.
want love.
And yeah, after 3 or 4 years, they're delicious.
That too. Oh my God. There was one time that we got it. We didn't raise the pig, but we got a full pig for a pig roast. And it was in our freezer for like a day. And my dad named it. And then my mom couldn't eat it.
Mm.
And I'm like, it wasn't even alive but it had a name. And so from then on, like
Yeah.
but I'm like, I could
Growing up there in Utah, there were 4-H projects. It's like this is my cow Billy, this is my pig Stinker,
Yep.
and now this is our full fridge for winter.
Exactly, right? See,
Here they donate it to the poor, and they have like whole like auctions in Salt Lake County. So they'll auction off their 4-H projects, and then they raise money for the next year's 4-H, and then the meat goes to underprivileged families. So that's cool.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. If you like goat. Some
I
people
like
do. Domestication fascinates me. Why we chose the animals we chose to domesticate to eat is fascinating to me. Why we choose to eat the animals we eat, regardless of culture. So different cultures, obviously, their palate is pretty broad. But why is it that certain cultures only domesticated to harvest certain animals, whereas other cultures were kind of anything goes? To me, that fascinates me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we're over here eating shark fin soup in the US, but when I was growing up, we used to eat shark steaks all the time. Thresher shark is delicious. Beautiful fish, by the way. One of the most beautiful sharks on earth. And you can't eat it anymore because of shark fin soup and what China does.
Well, see,
But
that's
I
the
am-
thing. I mean, shark is, well, if you cook it right. If you cook it wrong, it's shoe leather. But
Ew.
I mean, a good, well-cooked shark is awesome. But that's the thing, the weirdos that make the shark fin soup, they just chop the fin off and let the animal die out in the water. It's, like,
Oh, that's
horrific.
terrible.
It's
Yeah, they just
horrible.
collect
They-
them.
What?
Yeah, there's multiple documentaries. They literally just chop off its fins, and while it's still alive, just sink it to the bottom of the ocean to die. And it destroys entire food chains, because what ends up happening obviously is the tuna and the predatory fish in the middle that the sharks prey on then overeat all the smaller fish and destroy the fishing hatcheries. And so the natural nurseries in the ocean, and it causes a huge it's an environmental catastrophe. In my opinion, it's environmental terrorism on a very large scale that China has been doing for decades. And especially more recently, Chinese citizens, and I specifically say Chinese citizens because they're living in California and they are not US citizens. They are Chinese nationals and citizens going out and overfishing our local estuaries, even out like just offshore. Like when I was growing up in Dana Point, you could walk out and find starfish and sea urchins, and it was flush. There was just tons and tons of, small animals and mussels and clams, and no one wanted to eat the mussels or clams because it was so highly polluted. But now they're gone. And you can see pictures and videos of people coming out home with like giant, 30-pound bags full of mussels that they just harvested illegally. And there's just zero
30 pounds of
repercussions,
muscle.
enforcement, nothing. And it's pissing me off. People think because I'm a conservative that I don't care about the planet. That is an absolute lie. That is an absolute lie. I think it's incumbent upon human beings to be the stewards of the earth. Other animals aren't out there trying to protect and look out for human beings. It's our duty as humans, I think, to look out for other animals and to protect the environment. So, yeah.
I would agree with that.
And that's regardless of if you believe in God or have any religious feelings whatsoever. If you want to just repopulate and pursue existence as human beings, it is incumbent upon us to be good stewards of the environment.
Oh, have you guys seen the new windmills that they're putting up off the coast? And it's like messing with the whales' migration patterns.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, that's so bad.
That's how we're getting killer whale attacks. I'm almost certain of it.
Oh, you think that's why they're destroying the boats?
I think they're agitated. I think they've had enough. I mean, if you just like put your head underwater, right? This is because I worked at an aquarium for a long time, and I would always tell the kids, let me put your head in a giant bucket and hit the sides of the bucket, and you feel that reverberation and the sound echoing in your ears. That's essentially what it's like for fish underwater, except it's their entire nervous system, because fish experience pain differently than we do. Or at least it's heavily theorized by German scientists who have been studying this for a while, because there's an argument popularized in Germany that anglers are committing what amounts to animal torture by catching fish and releasing them, by causing them pain and then releasing. So scientists have looked into it and they're like, no, the parts of the brain that light up in fish when they experience what we would classify as painful stimuli, like cutting them in half or, ripping off scales or whatever, it triggers in their brains the same portions of brains in other animals that simply trigger notification, right? So like a pressure. So like, oh, something just bit my tail off, but it's not to the same effect that it would be for human beings in our conscious mind. Take that for what it is. All I'm saying is we need to do better, because fish are so sensitive to pressure changes in the water, so sensitive to frequency and sound. And I mean, I told you guys, right? Like when I worked at Raytheon, I worked in the sonar. That's where I worked with sonar and space stuff. And it was really cool because in the sonar testing room, they have like negative decibels. You can't hear anything. Like someone will be screaming in your face and you can't hear them. That's where they test sonar. But whales are doing that all the time through clicks and tricks and, communicating hundreds and hundreds of miles across the ocean. Of course, a giant windmill vibrating is going to create sound and it's going to piss them off. I don't know. That's my theory, at least. I think there's just way too much frequency in the world generally, both through 5G, telephone, radio, you name it. I think it's messing with the navigation of beehives. I think that's why we're seeing the hive collapse. And it's messing with navigation generally for a lot of animals. And I think we're going through a magnetic pole flip. And I think that's contributing too.
I think, I think that's been happening. And a lot of people, everybody's saying like, oh, climate change or, global warming. I think we're going through a change and a shift because we're getting hotter or we're getting warmer earlier and colder a lot earlier. And I'm like, our seasons are starting to flip. And I'm like, oh no, we're turning into Australia. But
It doesn't exist.
But I don't know. We'll see if it exists soon. But I've thought about that as well recently too, about the polar shifts, and I'm like, that might be a thing. But have you seen there's a study that they do because when bees are in their hive and they hum or like at the frequency of like C, there's been studies that show like if you put somebody with like PTSD out by it, just 100% will start to like calm them and restore their senses and like.
Wait, what? Putting people with PTSD just like around beehives will help them?
Yes.
That would give me PTSD.
No. So here's the thing, Jeff. All of us, all of our atoms and everything are spinning at a certain frequency.
Yeah, of course.
Like we're all, and so it's not.
We're mostly empty air. If it wasn't for all the vibration our atoms are doing, we would just be little puddles of goo.
So there have been certain studies that like frequency actually does a lot for us as human beings. And because of the certain frequency that bees hum at, it will restore like shit in your brain.
Yeah.
But just play me a recording. Don't like put me around a bunch of bees.
But that's not how frequency works.
Yeah, it's not sufficient because you have to be in the proximity of the
it's
frequency.
Like the it's like all of the frequency.
It's sort of like how overtones you can sometimes catch on recording, but generally you can't because you're picking them up when you're hearing them because of the frequency passing over each other and creating new waves. It's very similar in nature. And what's interesting is psychologically, they've done testing back in I want to say after World War I, they started doing testing because men were going insane in bomb shelters and in the bunkers, and they couldn't figure out exactly what it was. And what was theorized is the Earth has megahertz. I think it's 8.5 or something megahertz. That's the frequency of the Earth. You measure it, it's the same every year, no matter what. That's the frequency of the Earth. For whatever reason, when people go into these bomb shelters, their frequency begins to lower, whatever frequency they're reverberating at or whatever they've been surrounded by. 7.82. Thank you so much. Okay, 7.82. And when you bring them down to the frequency of the Earth for too long at like an extended rate, people start to get massively depressed and like they start to hallucinate, they start to lose their mind. And so now in bomb shelters and in these bunkers and in missile silos, on these speakers, they will actually create a hum that is just above that to try and mimic the frequencies on the surface of the Earth so that human beings don't go crazy underground. So this is something we've been doing since forever. And now we're starting to realize, wait a second, maybe this is impacting all of us to varying degrees. Some creatures are going to be more sensitive to it than others. Yeah, it's why music affects mood. It's incredible.
My dogs are humming at different frequencies right now.
And it's why you're having cancer from your cell phones, right? The microwaves and the frequencies coming off your cell phones. There are giant warning labels, especially on Samsung phones. I don't know about Apple, but if you pick up a Samsung warning label when you open the package, it literally says, "Do not put this near your head. You will get brain cancer." And if it's putting off that amount of frequency, radio wave, and microwave, imagine what all of the things around us are doing all of the time to our bodies. Right?
Ooh. Cat's purring is a good frequency.
Oh, that is
That's a
good
calming frequency.
Are y'all picking up the good vibrations? Because I'm feeling it.
See, and that's literally where the good vibes came from.
I'm just picking up dog snoring vibrations. That's all I'm picking up.
Because you have the good vibes and the
They're
bad
in
vibes.
stereo.
You want the good vibes and vibrations.
MRI machines. Okay, so I thought I was crazy because I'm super ADHD and I have depression too. And I went into an MRI machine for the first time ever, like 2 years ago. And when I was in there after the MRI machine, I call it an MRI session because I was euphoric. It was very bizarre. I was unexplained euphoria.
Really?
Full on euphoric. I got in the car. It was like the world was brighter. I was so happy. I was crying.
It was interacting with your magnetic personality.
Maybe.
I now I want to try an MRI.
Well, just get hurt and spend a few $1,000s and you can experience it too.
Well, I was gonna say the last MRI I had, it was on my knees, and it just made my knees hurt from having to stay like laid out in one position for like 30 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
try doing it with two broken arms. And they have
whole,
it was the chunk thing that drove me nuts.
yeah, I was not down for that.
But I looked it up when I got home because I thought I was like experiencing psychosis or mania. Turns out that a lot of people have had these experiences, and it's common enough that they've started to study it. But in double blinds, it seems to be 50-50. It's like sometimes people experience it, some people don't. And they don't know exactly this MRI, like euphoria, post MRI imaging.
Wow.
I don't know what it is.
What were you getting MRI'd?
Oh, inside stuff.
So because I'm
inside
like,
the body.
I was gonna say, I wonder if it's like levels. Like because it was of my knee, I didn't get it. Where maybe if it was like above the chest or something, you do get it.
Maybe mine was lower imaging though. So I am curious to see if it was like my brain, if it was an MRI scan of my brain, would I have the same effect? Yeah, I hadn't thought of that too, Flux. And to me, electromagnetic anything is fascinating. Like the Philadelphia experiment.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because that's all that
always
was.
a fun
It was
one.
Giant generators on top of a ship creating electromagnetic fields around the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, can you pull up the Wikipedia page? Because I want to know how many people actually died allegedly. Do we have
actually died allegedly?
I think
it died allegedly. Jeff, don't slap me for my stupidity, okay? It's hard being dumb. The world's not kind to stupid people. Whoa, it's raining.
Cool.
Wow. The Philadelphia experiment. Let's see. We are bringing up the wiki. All right. Share screen. Philadelphia experiment. All right. Let me see if it says how many people, because I know like it's like, oh, people died and were fused to the boat and whatnot, but I don't think I've ever seen like a number of people who have died.
Me either. I've heard rumors about them, being like connected to the ship afterwards and burning to death and people going missing.
But I've never found like, I don't think I've ever found a number. Well, actually, actually, you young kids like to go to Wiki, but I am going to go to my book of unusual knowledge.
Ooh.
And there's actually a piece of the Philadelphia experiments in here. I just
Wait,
have
you
to
have a
find
book of what is it called?
Useless
It's a-
shit.
a book of unusual knowledge.
And you
Or
wanted me to come
AKA
up with the topic of tonight's episode? Are you kidding me?
the book of useless shit or useless knowledge.
I am certain there's unexplained things in there.
Oh yeah, it goes hold on, let me art and literature, people, pop culture, monkeys and business. That is a section. Intriguing
is that
individuals.
The discussion of monkeys actually placing bets in the stock market at the same rate of success as most investment firms?
It says it talks about the name, where it came, like where that term came from, the birth of a good-humored businessman, the Mall of America's consumer delight, but wait, there's more, and modern, how that came about. Oh, the supernatural. I think it'll probably be in the supernatural. Yes, it is. Page 344. It's also got UFOs, doppelgangers, the Great Texas Airship Mystery.
What?
That sounds interesting.
That sounds interesting.
Have either of you heard of the Texas Airship?
Not once in my whole life.
Not once in my whole freaking life.
Whole freaking life. I love when little kids say that. This is the best thing of my entire life. I'm like, well, you've only been here 3 years. I believe you.
Right? All right. The myths of doppelgangers. Nope, that's the wrong page. Let's see. Hold on.
Jeff, I bet you have a lot of doppelgangers.
Do I? I'm sorry.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It probably is, though.
There's a bunch of UFO sightings in here.
My fear of the doppelganger myth is that I'm the bad one. I'm like, am I the lesser of the two? That's always concerning to me.
I would hope that I'm not, but I don't know that I could say I would be. Apparently, the Great Texas Airship Mystery happened in 1897, and people saw a cigar-shaped UFO.
Oh yes, okay.
November.
Cigar shape, yeah.
Yeah, the cigar-shaped UFO. All right, the Philadelphia experiment. Let's see. It began with scribbled notations of a crazed genius.
That was me.
Let's see. It was in The Case for UFOs by a science enthusiast, Morris K. Jessup. The USS Eldridge disappeared from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia in a matter of minutes. People involved. Alden, who is the guy, Carlos Alden, he's the dude who wrote the story on the Philadelphia experiment. When he was giving his account to Morris K. Jessup, he could not provide he couldn't provide any evidence.
Okay.
Other than just his word.
So for the young whippersnappers, the U.S. Navy Naval History and Heritage Command website has an entire page dedicated to this alleged event occurring that may or may not have occurred.
It's
That
funny.
no one can confirm or deny.
It's funny. It's pretty much saying all of this is just based off this one dude who made this one claim. Well, if this one dude made this one claim, why is it such a big to do about it?
I don't know, but I'm reading right now.
Yeah. According to
Office of
It was an
Naval
inv-
Research information sheet.
Disavow.
Disavow what?
That it ever happened.
It may have never happened.
Yeah.
There was a USS Eldridge.
There was.
That was a real naval boat. However, its crazy antics can neither be confirmed nor denied. But I think it's funny that the U.S. Navy would go as far as posting like a whole to-do page about it.
Yeah, it is interesting because here's the thing. You can say, all right, it didn't happen because there's only one, testimony from one guy that one time who said allegedly this thing occurred. But he said it with some level of specificity and obviously some level of convincing, right? So, or persuasion. You remember
the whole
that
thing.
You remember that one engineer that allegedly worked on a base outside of Nevada or outside of Las Vegas in Nevada, who allegedly was involved in deconstructing certain unidentified flying objects, and then allegedly was kicked out of his position in post because his wife was cheating on him and they were afraid he was going to freak out. And then he called into radio stations and said, yeah, I worked on these projects as an engineer. And as a matter of fact, one of the partners, while trying to deconstruct this really unknown and unexplained engine where we couldn't figure out where the energy was coming from for the processes to create the flight that we had, he just vanished and vaporized. That same guy who was discredited for years and years and years by every single agency in the world saying no such base exists. The US government just admitted that existed back in 2017, and that was Area 51. So I'm just saying, there have been, in historically speaking, people who have come forward as eyewitnesses with levels of specificity for the work that they did, the things that they observed, and said, yes, this is happening, or yes, I watched this happen, only for the US government to say, this person is crazy. We have no idea what the hell they're talking about. That thing does not even exist. That is what they said of Groom Lake in Area 51. It doesn't exist.
And they said that about UFOs for the longest time.
And it took a bunch of freaking people online saying, let's go clap some alien cheeks for the US government to finally admit it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Was that Lazar? Was that
It was Bob Lazar?
Oh, yeah. I just remember stories. I never remember names or details. I would be the world's worst witness.
All right. I think I got to start wrapping it up because I'm tired. I got to get some sleep. But it was fun.
It was.
Was it? I feel bad. I feel like I took over the show.
No.
Well, you were supposed to because it was your idea.
Yeah, you brought the topic tonight.
Yes. Because that was the thing. We were sitting back. We were sitting back here waiting for you to show up. We're like, wonder what the urgency of this is. Wonder what cool thing she's going to bring to the table. What's she going to talk about? And you're like, what's up, guys? What are we talking about?
I just realized I shouldn't do it with one arm. I should definitely be doing both arms.
Well, if you cross it, it's okay. It's when you extend it out fully that it's not okay.
Listen, you guys, I was doing this. Just one arm. It's when you extend it out fully towards the camera.
That's when it becomes straight, bad.
That's where you get in trouble. Just make sure you're doing the right directions. But hey, you guys, thank you so much for calling an emergency meeting. of the
You called the
Unexplained.
emergency meeting.
Thank you for inviting me to the meeting I called.
You invited
the
us.
Unexplained emergency meeting.
You invited us. This was your idea.
Thank you for calling an emergency meeting.
I hope all of our viewers had a blast because Lord knows I did. This is the most fun I've had on stream in a week, 2 weeks, a month.
Good.
Thank you. Well, except with Jeff. Jeff was fun in the library.
Oh yeah, that was always fun.
What did you say though?
Huh?
This is as much fun as you've had in how many weeks?
At least a month on
Oh.
stream. On stream. Yeah.
That's
Except for us.
That's what the House of Flux is about. The House of Flux is the place to just chill, relax, let the hair down,
I don't have any hair.
take the pants off.
I got
Well,
pants to take off.
in
Mine
your
do.
own house, but here you can take the pants off. In your own
I'm
house.
wearing these glasses from now until forever. But
Oh,
I don't.
you
I'm
should.
just
I'm
thinking
like-
these.
I'm super jelly of those glasses.
Stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Tonight is the only thing you'll see if you stand out till you notice me, or something like that. I don't remember, but I love. Did you ever watch a Goofy movie, Jeff, or was that
Nope.
past your time?
That was
That was I
not
love
watched
that.
by me.
I loved that movie growing up.
Yeah.
That's what made me want to skateboard all the time.
I wanted to be that pop singer. I thought he was so cool. So cool.
I mean, everybody in a Goofy movie was so cool, except for Goofy. Everybody else was so cool.
that whole like, did you not want to be Roxanne?
Oh my god!
Roxanne,
Serious?
you don't have to wait.
Oh yeah,
Dress tonight.
that's actually the Roxanne Jeff is singing about. Is that was my first car name? She was
Cool.
Roxanne, and she was Roxanne because she was a rental car before I got her. So, she was a hooker before I got her.
Was she red?
No, she was actually black. It was a black Kia Soul.
Trump
I just
could
liked
say that
having a
about
black
every
soul.
one of his wives.
All right, guys. Well,
I'm the worst. It's a joke. It's a joke.
thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys. And I'm sorry we couldn't do this last night, but thank you for being
I'm glad you couldn't do it
adjustable.
last night, because if you would have done this last night, I wouldn't have been here.
That's
I'm glad
true.
you couldn't do it last night.
In being fully
It's
adjustable,
being fully adjustable.
we were able to bring it over tonight. I love it. I love it. We'll probably do. I feel like we end up doing these like once a month, which I think is a neat pace. I think we're pretty good. But we need to do another one soon because I want to hang out more than once a month. Because I mean, you guys are just awesome. So who wouldn't?
Can we do Bimini Road and like monolithic structures?
Yes, I want to do
Unexplained.
monoliths.
What do you think,
Yes.
Jeff? Does that fascinate you?
I'm fascinated by anything.
Like
And as
the
I said,
Dolomens
I can
in
bullshit about
Korea?
bullshit forever.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it because I want to talk about the Dolomens in Korea, which are way cooler than freaking Stonehenge. And
And I want to talk about what happened to the Georgia Guidestones because that we've
Also.
still never got the conclusion to that
Yeah.
story,
that
and I keep
entire,
following it.
all of it's unexplained. All of that. So for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But yes, so guys, next time we will be doing monoliths and what road?
Bimini, it's the Bimini Road. So off of the Bimini Island, there's like a road that stretches under the water, and it appears to be cut stone that looks like a road, and it also seems to go like onto the island. And so there's a lot of people who have theorized
Atlantis.
Ooh.
Atlantis may or may not have been
Ooh.
attached to Bimini Island, which is only like, I think 50 miles, nautical miles, or give or take, just offshore of Florida. Am I right, Jeff? I'm right.
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, is that near the Bermuda Triangle? How far?
Yep.
It is. It is not far at all.
Ooh. So guys, We tune in next time for that because that's going to be awesome. You guys give a quick outro for yourselves. Ladies first.
Come and check out my channel. It's super awesome, where I'm not wearing glasses and I'm much more reserved, kind of. Not true. Actually, that's a lie. Come and check out my channel, Dani on Direct, where we do legal analysis, have a ton of fun. I'm obnoxious there as I am here. So if this is your style and you're like, yeah, I find her mildly entertaining, come check out my channel.
Legal
Jeff,
Vices.
Me turn. Hi. If you don't know me, shame on you. Shame on all of you. Get on over to me because what do we got? We usually do Maritime Monday. We're not doing Maritime Monday this week because I was on vacation.
Aw.
There's so many things to talk about. There's a whole ton of legal news. We're going to do a legal news roundup
Oh.
on Monday. And then starting Tuesday, we're going to be going day by day, page by page over the Amber Heard Johnny Depp sidebar transcript.
Yes.
So you can see that I'm starting to question how Elaine Brederhoff is actually a lawyer.
It's so bad.
who?
It is
Elaine
so
Brederhoff,
It's so bad.
Amber Heard's lawyer.
You know, the bar
I'm going to
is
become a
minimum.
lawyer. I'm going to
You
become
could
a
be.
lawyer and be better than her.
And so,
In like
that's
2
what we're going to be
seconds.
doing. We're going to be going over those for however many days it takes. Probably 2 days per day. So probably for a week and a half. Plus Thursday will be O.J. Simpson with Chandler Remington, and probably a chill Friday. Whatever happens on Vices stays on Vices.
So guys, don't forget, check out each of their pages. Go give them a like and a sub. If you enjoyed tonight's conversation, go ahead and drop a like in the, just drop a like below. That would be awesome. Replay crew, always love you. And guys, don't forget, be excellent to each other. Have a great rest of your night. Bye guys. Oh wait, real quick. Woo! Right under the wire. Right, just Lily Smith, you got it right as I was about to go. $5 super chat. I missed it all. Gonna start the show over. Don't worry, we got you on the replay. Love you. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Lily Smith. Again, guys, be excellent to each other. Have a fantastic night. Good night.